So we have partnered with See Spot Behave. For those of you that are new and haven't joined, because I see quite a few new faces, Debbie and Diane are with See Spot Behave, and I'm going to let them talk about who they are. And they have a lot of initials and things like that I don't want to mess up. So they are the experts in all things training and behavior. And we're grateful that we have this opportunity to share their knowledge and soak up their knowledge. All of the webinars that we do and have done are available for you if you've missed to watch on the replay. If you need a link, you can shoot me an email at michelle@grr-tx.com and we can get that to you. So we're going to go ahead and jump in and get started. And I'm going to turn it over to, I don't know who's going to go first, Debbie or Diane, but I'm going to turn it over to you guys and let you guys jump in.
All right, Diane, are you ready? I am going to share my screen. Make sure that's working. We tried that once before. Yay, there we go. Okay. And let's do this. Let's just shoot forward to Diane. Introduce yourself. Here are all your credentials. I'll make you go first.
Not fair. No. I'm Diane Smith, and I am the founder, lead trainer, crazy lady that works with all the dogs for See Spot Behave. I've been doing this now for over 10 years. I started as an apprentice in California working with animal behaviorists who had a training facility. Learned about training because I, like many of you, had a crazy dog who really had a hard time controlling her emotions because she was primarily husky with a good dash of chow in her, and decided during her recuperation from her space surgery to remodel my kitchen by pulling counter tiles off my kitchen counter. So anybody had that ever happen? That was a new one for me. Good thing we were planning on remodeling the kitchen, but anyways, but from there, you know, she and the behaviorists I worked with were fantastic in teaching me about dogs, about dog behavior, and particularly, you know, that connection between people and dogs and how can we help them fit into our families. So I started See Spot Behave in California. Debbie and I met here in Texas working for a different place called Dog Boys, but started at See Spot Behave after Dog Boys unfortunately closed. And so now just really focus on working with clients who are, you know, dealing with behavioral issues, but more importantly, those relationships, helping build those relationships between your dog and you so that you can live in harmony, or at least close.
San Antonio, is that right? Yeah. Diane and I, we were very simpatico when we hit Dog Boys together. Sense of humor for sure. One thing that we both agreed on is that most of the time, it's when there was something going on with dogs, it's that humans weren't understanding the dog more than anything else. And then the other portion is the dog not understanding the human. So when we're talking about bad behavior, it's a communication gap. And so that's what we founded most of our work on. So my background is I have a master's in education. I was a high school teacher for long, not too long, but long. And in the meantime, I was learning how to train dogs because I had a crazy dog too. She didn't redo the tiles. She managed to get up on top of the refrigerator, open the freezer door and cast out everything she liked, and then get down on the floor and eat it all. That was a trip to the vet for sure. So I also, because of that, my interest in teaching, I also learned a great deal about psychology because I was teaching psychology was some of my background. So my certifications are in things like dog aggression and fear-free techniques, in things like Michelle's question about getting Brock to the vet. How do you work with a dog that's fearful and bring their fear down in order to help them so that they aren't feeling like they're being attacked. I have a certification in something called family dog mediation, which looks at the ethology, all the genetic background and the learning background, the history of the dog and their medical history and their environment around them while you're writing up their behavior plan. So I like to get down into the nitty gritty, and that's my nerdiness. So, Diane's the adventure, the fun, the take your dogs out swimming and go on, hikes. And I'm like, here, let me dig into your dog's past and their motherhood. All that good stuff. So that's how we mash together.
Life regression.
The two of us are, we're just two sides of one coin. This week's topic, this month's topic, is a home that helps. And this topic came out of Diane and I talking ages ago about how we would go into a house and we would recommend something called management, and people would go, but that's not training. And we would, yeah, but your house is training your dog. Your house is setting up the environment that is telling your dog, do this, you're going to get rewarded. And that really is what training is that if I do a particular behavior and a reward happens, I'm going to do that behavior again. And that's the same thing as working. I get paid for a behavior. Same thing as asking a dog to sit. They sit, they get paid for that behavior. Counter surfing is a great example. It's a prime example. If I put my paws on the counter and there's food there, I'm going to do that again. So your house is really the prime environment that trains your dog. And when we look at the full plan, when we set up something for a dog we've just met, we spend a lot of time pulling that apart, looking at the environment that's surrounding the dog. And we think, what can we do in terms of managing the dog and shaping the environment? And that is the least friction in terms of training the dog. So when we say management, we're thinking of you. We're thinking that what can we do to reduce the friction so it's easier, so that the dog's behavior is shaped in almost a habitual way. So we're going to use the environment to produce the behavior we want. So Diane, what would you have done to reduce the tile shattering by your dog? If you had to shape the environment?
Well, yeah, if I, had known that it was even a possibility, she would have been either crated or in another place versus in the kitchen. Those wonderful baby gates that we're always recommending, I to this day have them in my house to block my dogs off from cats and whatnot. But yeah, it's so much easier to be able to manage them versus, again, trying to train her not to take the tiles off when she's bored and high energy and has nothing better to do at that moment.
Hey, remind us that we need to talk about getting stock in baby gate companies. We talk about them. We sell them all the time. We need to figure that out.
If anybody has a connection, let us know.
Right. But yeah, for those of you who think trainers have great dogs, no. We always pick up the dogs that are like, sure, that dog it's kind of like having a mechanic. They're not going to get the dog the car that's perfect. They're going to get the fixer-uppers. We have fixer-uppers. And so we do. I have 3 baby gates in my house. How many do you have, Diane?
I've got 2 right now.
Yeah. So because your puppy's growing up, so that's good.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the cats have learned she is all bark, no bite.
All right. Let's look this guest in. There we go. So that's, I think, an important thing to know, that trainers use a lot of baby gates, and we do not have perfect dogs. So this stuff you'll see in our houses too. So tonight we're actually going to do a tour of your house, going through generic types of rooms. So everybody has these rooms that we're going to talk about. And we're going to invite you to really, really look at the rooms in your house and think them through from your dog's perspective and how that room trains your dog. And consider some upgrades or changes to the house with a goal of maybe making 3 changes. And in the meantime, we would love for you to share changes you've already made, maybe changes that you tried that didn't work, or suggestions. If someone says, hey, I've got this going on, we're going to bring it out to the Q&A portion. So that's what the notepads are for, taking notes as you go. You're not taking notes on what I'm saying or doing. You might be taking notes on, hey, this is how I want to change this in my room. So we're going to recommend 3 reframes or 3 changes, and you can do others than what we recommend. So we're just using these as models for you. So you can have a little to-do list. And what we want to do is we want to change the house, not the dog. Now, there seems to be, I think it has a lot to do with advertising. There seems to be a mindset that if it's good training, it means you've changed the dog. The dog has obeyed. And this comes from me as a teacher. If that's the case, then boy, teaching would be so much harder. Because think about all the things you do as a teacher, or even when you're raising a child, that are about the environment and not the kid. So for instance, let's go with little kindergarten kids. They have cubbies. If I had to teach kids to take off their shoes and put them into a bin and hang up their coat, but I didn't provide that structure, I had like somewhere in this room, you got to figure out where to put your coat. Wouldn't work. I actually have to provide the structure. And if you have ever had teenagers, even if they have the structure, you know, those shoes are just going to get kicked off anywhere in the room. So you actually have to provide structure in a context that makes sense. Your dogs need that too. So we're going to talk about context a lot, because dogs do not generalize well. And they're very much like teenagers in that if I say, put up your shoes, the teenager could interpret that in 1,000 ways. So will your dog. So we'll talk about context and how that nails things down. So the first reframe we're going to talk about, we'll go through the house, make some notes, and then we'll move through. So as we tour each room mentally in your room, you can actually get up. We're going to make time to pause for you to go into that room in your house if you want to, and then come back. So little field trips. We're not going to follow you, I promise. No one has to bring a camera into their room. That's why I'm somewhere else, so you can't see my house. All right. So that's the first premise. Your house is already training your dog. So the reachable counter, the window that looks right out to where Amazon or the mail person drops off stuff, the couch that the arm is right by that front door so that your dog is face height to your guest. None of that is neutral. All of that is training your dog. And that setup gives your dog a reward every time. And I'm not kidding about the couch with the dog right here. One of my cases was a family they were so distraught because their dog kept biting their guests in the face.
Oh, geez.
So I said, well, what's happening? Well, just right when we open the door, the dog's right there and bites him right in the face. And I'm thinking, wow, okay, well, how's that set up? We just don't know how it happens. Okay. Can you video it with no person there? Like, can you video the inside of your front door? Don't go get a guest. I don't need to see someone get bitten. So just video the inside of your door. And I said, well, that couch, does your dog get on the couch? Uh-huh. Can we move the couch? Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
And they were like, oh, wow. And then we did some training, right? So we moved the cat, we prevented the bites. So that was the first thing. And the dog was just really, really bummed because they love being right up here to deal with whoever's coming in the house. And then we worked on polite greetings and containing the dog and all that other stuff. But let's just not put the dog right in the person's face within an inch of the door. So how your house is arranged matters. Okay, so here's the good news. Change the room, shift the couch, and you change the lesson the dog is being taught by the environment. And this one is, every coach, every artist that is teaching other artists, musician, knows that every rep creates a habit, creates neurons firing together. And so every time your dog is repeating a behavior, that behavior becomes very ingrained and is going to repeat over and over again until it's a habit. And so if you have a setup in your house that's consistent, your dog's just going to scoot down that habitually, and it's going to become a pattern you don't see anymore either. So what we want to do is we want you to look differently. So part of it is, I remember in gosh, it was about 3 months ago, I think, where I said, I will sometimes get down real low and look from the dog's point of view in a room and see what is the dog seeing. So when we go into the other room, look and see, where's my dog looking from or coming in from, and see if that perspective helps. So behavior is like a trail, and that's what we're going to see. Every time your dog walks a particular path, it's making it harder for us to undo. You don't want your dog to practice it. So we're going to flip it, and we're going to make that path hard to cross. Like the couch in front of the door. When the couch got moved, the dog didn't have anything to jump on, and it became very easy for us to change that dog's behavior. So you're not being lazy by changing the couch. There are some trainers that would say you would be, that would say, well, that dog never learned anything. You just moved the couch. But the guest's safety has been handled, fixed, right? And now I can interrupt the loop, this path that the dog is on. And now I can offer a different path with a different reward just by changing the couch. So I've got a setup that's far more rewarding for that dog. Okay. I've heard this before in training too. A bored dog will hire himself. Hey, I'm bored. I do. And this person is in the audience by my invitation. I just worked with a family whose dog hired himself to discipline the other dog in the house. I'm sure you've seen this before. Lots of dogs do, where it's like, I'm okay, Mom, what do you want me to do? You want me to tell him what he should be doing? Dogs are happy to do tasks for you. And if you don't have any tasks for them, they're like, great, what should I do? You know what? I think this couch is soft, but I'm going to make it fluffier. I'm just going to chew on it for a while. Or you know what? I'm going to patrol the fence, and I'm going to make sure nothing passes this line of the fence, and it becomes obsessive, right? Or you know what? I'm going to make sure that nobody passes in front of our window without knowing that this is our house. Mm-hmm. And they can't go past our house for free. Okay. So the dog is doing this. So they will start setting their own ideas of what the context should be if you don't set the idea of context. So if you find that your dog is having a persistent behavior, start thinking, why, what job has he assigned himself? And this family I worked with, this dog had assigned himself, I am this other dog's disciplinarian, and I'm here to make sure that he gets written up for any behavior he's doing wrong. And if you guys don't act on it, I will happily take care of it. Mm-hmm. And so we had to tell him, you're fired. You don't get to discipline the other dog. That's our job. So you're fired. In this case, inside the house, it could be you don't get to shred every piece of paper that you can reach. We're going to make sure you can't do that. So you have to think about, what is it your dog's doing? You fire them. Dogs don't have a sense of right and wrong. They have a sense of what you like and don't like, what you want and don't want. And so we can work on that in terms of reward as well. Now, I want to put a big caveat on this stuff first. If your dog's needs are not being met, it kind of blows this theory away. So if your dog does not feel safe, if they don't have food, if they are not getting adequate rest, if they're not getting adequate intellectual or physical exercise, then that can actually skew this idea. So we're assuming right now that the dogs that we're talking about are happy, healthy, well cared for, possibly spoiled, because I know this group, maybe really, really loved. I know this group. We know that these dogs are okay. We're not talking about dogs that are missing something. So I just want to make sure you know that this isn't about a dog that is having a trouble. we're talking about healthy dogs that have good environments and, very good relationships with their people. So, we're not talking about a rescue that's just come in that's been neglected. So don't ask, why are you doing that? Ask, what's the reward you're getting from this? Okay. Now, most of us are refereeing our dogs, out of bounds, no, right? And instead, what we want to do is have the space show them they're out of bounds. So like the difference, what if we were playing soccer and there were no lines on the field? The dog would never know where the bounds were. So we invented putting lines on the field so everybody knows what the bounds are. So it's setting those things up properly. So for instance, in our house, we have the baby gate right in the hallway for guests, so that my dogs go to the gate. They're not allowed to be complete ruffians at the gate and maul each other while they're waiting for the guests to say hi. But that gate is a stop, so that when my guest comes in, they can come in, or if I'm coming in with groceries, that's a boundary where my dogs know that they have to wait calmly there. And then I put my things down, or I take my, guest's coat and I give them a hug and say hi. And at that next step is where the dogs need to be calm and quiet in order to greet the guest. That's a boundary. That's the architect way. If I didn't have that, I'd be playing referee, which would be no, off, sit, stop, jump, don't jump, off, don't grab their clothes. I'd be doing that. And that referee is like whack-a-mole. I'd be constantly whack-a-mole when I come in. And that's just because they're excited. Now, I could do it the trainery way, and I could spend time taking each dog one at a time, bringing guests in they don't know, and working really hard on place, working really hard on sit, and doing it so that they are drilled to the point where they are really obedient, disciplined dogs. That takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of money if you have a trainer doing it for you and with you. And it also means the dog is not necessarily doing it because they're enjoying it. They're doing it because they've been drilled to it. So to me, that's also a question of quality of life. I don't want my dogs to feel like they must do it because I've forced them to. I want them to do it because they're polite and because they're listening. So for me, having them drilled to the point where they're like, yes, is a type of dog. It wants that, but not all dogs want that. So am I going to spend a bunch of money and a whole lot of my own time to have my dogs be, wow, just drilled like military dogs? Or can I just put a baby gate up? I'm going to get the baby gates of what, 60, 70 bucks? Yeah. To me, that's an excellent solution. All that. And then just a little bit of training after that for the gate change, and then we're good. I'm going to do a quick poll, and this is to help you also know what's going on with these buttons. On your screen, you might have some icons below the slide. You'll see like a thumbs up and hearts and stuff. How many of you have used baby gates or an X pen to help control your dog's access to guests? If you have, just click the thumbs up. Oh, yeah, or a hands up. Thanks, Maggie. G Maggie. Very good, Laura. Yeah, there we go. Lots and lots. And it's such an easy answer. Now, sometimes the dogs just end up being rowdy on the other side of the gate. It takes some training there too, but it sure helps. All right.
One thing I just want to point out, because we hear this a lot as we're talking about baby gates, I don't know that people really are aware. You can buy really, really tall baby gates.
Oh, yeah.
You can stack baby gates. We've had, to recommend that for different fosters. You can buy really wide baby gates. There really isn't an area that's not possible to baby gate off. Because I do hear that a lot. Or the layout of our house doesn't work for baby gates. Or the dogs
don't challenge me.
Yeah. Or they've jumped. And so
yeah, there's a lot of options. The other thing too, especially if we're talking about Goldies, because I've got big dogs, is the nice thing is if you've got the compression type, you can actually lift them a bit up off the floor. Any of you that have cats, great way for cats can slip under, dogs can't go over, and you have a built-in system of separating your dogs from your cats if necessary. So, but yeah, there's there's a lot of options. And if anybody ever has a question, happy to work through it with you.
I just saw a client that has a dog that is a Min Pin Jack Russell mix, which means the dog can jump. And they ended up with a baby gates with pressure from the floor to ceiling. So it's like a giant garden gate. So the dog couldn't jump over. I'd never seen those before, but they were fantastic. Thank you, Michelle. Thanks for pointing that out. Yeah, baby gate means a lot of things, and you can cover a huge gap with them or pretty much anything. And you can get them kind of so with these cups screw into the walls, they can't be pushed down either, too. My giant dog can't push ours down because we use those cups that keep them pressured to the wall. So yeah, good point. And so the aha down here is you can't out discipline a hungry lab by, you know, that is standing next to the roast. He's going to get that roast, but you're going to move the roast. Like for counter surfing, just move it. The dog can't have it, right? Laura, what was that pop up? I missed it.
Oh, she was just saying that she's got a 5-foot one with the kitty access.
Oh, kitty access. Yes, those are great.
Yeah.
The kitty doors are great.
The good thing is in the world of Amazon, or there are a billion people out there with a billion ideas of different ways to block your walkways.
Well, my foster, who is probably now my dog, I have to admit.
Oh, congratulations.
He's a big boy, and he can actually put his head on our counter. Counter. And so we've been moving food back. You know, we counter surfing. We're doing what we're supposed to. Anne had left a plate of roasted jalapenos out.
Oh,
just for a second, she turned away. She came back, plate's empty.
Oh, no. Oh, ow.
Yeah. So he only chewed up a little bit, and then he decided for the rest of the day that he didn't really have any interest in the counter.
That's a hard way to go about that.
No, we do not want that. So be careful what you do leave. We don't want anything he can get. And we talked about that as like, don't leave onions, don't leave things he can't have. But we decided to gate off the kitchen while he's in his curious stage too. So those are also for safety, not just for us keeping our food, but we don't want him grabbing stuff either. All right, we're going to walk your house. This is where you get your paper out, okay? Here's what we're going to do. We're just going to make things that you don't want your dog to do. We're going to make those things harder, and we're going to make the right things easier. It's like bowling with the gutters up for me. You pull those gutters up, the ball's going to go down the center. It helps, right? So that's what we're going to do. So we're going to remove trigger or block access. We're going to end up, closing doors or using gates. We're going to remove things if we need to. But then on the other side, if you want to make things easier, we're going to create better pathways. We're going to use mats or place. We're going to, maybe reward more often in some areas than the other. We can teach them that treats happen in particular areas of a room and don't at all. Or attention does, and other parts of the room are kind of null. So there's all kinds of things we can do. So as we go through, we're going to look in the rooms. But right now, the room that you're in, just audit that room. Is there anything in that room that you would change, or that if you were brand new to the room and your dog were brand new in, like a new foster or a puppy, what would you change in that room? Laura's got your hand up, so jump in, Laura. Oops. Well, go for it.
Sound.
Oh, yeah. I don't know what happened. Sorry. I can't hear you. Let's see. Are you muted, love?
Yeah.
Yeah, there we go.
She's muted.
Yeah.
There we go.
There you go.
Oh, heck. While we get Laura straightened out here and see.
You might be cruising the room.
I know, right?
You let me know, Debbie, if it's going to be helpful or not. I'm happy to cruise this room here just to
if you can cruise the room.
Sure.
Because this room is an artificial one, as you can tell.
Just know, this is a beautiful home. It's not mine. I'm taking care of a dog. So hang on a second here. Oh, but there's a few things in this room So I'm with an Aussie Shepherd, and if anybody understands Aussie Shepherds, high energy, definitely likes to create calm in the house. And so one of the things I'm going to try to do this here, hopefully everybody can see, but this house has these very large windows. I don't know if everybody can see those or not. In the front here, and you can see that I actually have, and the owner typically does too, has the blinds pulled down to keep the crazy level down, because Koa loves to guard right here.
Oh yeah.
And even though there's a fence on the other side here, so you can't really see the activity on the other side here. This is her front area here. I'm gonna slowly, hopefully I don't make anybody nauseous by moving here, but I'll open this up here so you can see that there is actually a really, a grassy area and a large fence, but he is that motion sensitive that he can tell even with the fence there if there's dogs going by. So the added level of protection then by having these down in order to keep the crazy barking, because he is an Aussie Shepherd and that's what he does. He's very vocal about what's happening outside. This just helps to keep him calmer, because right outside that fence there, and we tend to forget about that, right on the other side of that fence is a sidewalk. So there's literally about 3 inches between the sidewalk and the fence. So
Diane, can he see the tops of people's heads and stuff?
Yes.
Too?
So
Oh yeah, that would be terrible.
You can kind of see the slats the way they are. That's not a really good view, but if you looked closely at the slats, there's a slight bit of division between the slats, enough for him to see the motion. He can't necessarily pick out what it is exactly, but he is motion sensitive, being an Aussie Shepherd. He's over there staring at me going, I know you're talking about me.
So wait, so pause a second, because no pun intended. He's lucky, or she's lucky, that he doesn't claw those if he's upset. So for some folks, having him down, they'd get destroyed. And we sometimes recommend using the frosted window decals instead, so they don't claw up the blinds. So she's lucky that the blinds are not a problem for him. So that's good.
Yeah.
Okay, well, pause there. I think it looks like she's got herself set. Try again, Laura. Jump in. Nope. I lied to you. Oh, there's Michelle. Okay, Laura, I'm sorry. I'm gonna put you on the spot.
Anybody else seeing anything in their rooms that you're going, ooh, or I've already done, or?
Okay. I will switch over and we'll go to the next. Here we go. By the way, this is just a commercial break, kind of. If you're a foster, remember we've talked about this before, but if you're brand new to it, this is not about setting up that whole home sanctuary for a brand new baby, but I wanted to recommend that if you're thinking about it, if you have a brand new dog, we're looking at things like making a very small space for them, making sure the demands are quiet, it's very quiet space, letting the dogs come in slowly, keeping things predictable, the things we've talked about before. So this little thing is just a commercial to look back in some of the webinars that we've done about how to get a dog acclimated to your space. We've done some that will help, and be sure to reach out to Michelle if you feel like, hey, that's what I could use more of. This is a good time to think about it now, or to prep for your house, for that new furry guest that you're going to get. And we've done some also on the idea of the 3-3-3 rule about decompression for your dog too, and when they're kind of ready to let their mask down and get to know you a little bit more. So I just want to put that in here. This is what you would be doing, setting your house up, thinking about these rooms. And so I want to put that out there for you. So next room, our next thing is, let's talk about your kitchen. Oh yeah. Sorry, Laura, I saw that, I saw your hand up and I thought maybe you wanted to say something, but there we go. think we're okay. Okay. So making the wrong thing harder in the kitchen. Oh, how about a thumbs up for every person who has experienced a dog that was a counter surfer?
That's one of
yeah,
our biggest problems with
Ugh.
Goldens being opportunists.
Oh, they are. They're
And
so
tall, and most of our counters are right at the perfect spot.
and
Don't
they
even
can
have
reach
to
it.
work that hard.
They can reach it. So, and I love it. People will ask us, what do you do about counter surfing? And we'll say, well, you clear the counters, and they look at us like that can't be the answer. I mean, that it's not the answer. And it's like, that's the only answer. Because that's it. If they get food, they're like, this is a great gig. I reach up here, it's magic, it's there. And every time they are rewarded for getting up on the counter and getting it, they are like, I'm going to do this again. And so it is a constant reward for them. And this whole idea of pushing food to the back for some of these Goldens, where there's no back. You cannot have it far enough. Counters have to be clear. And this whole idea of use a lidded bin, we had to put our trash can in the garage. We couldn't have a trash can in the kitchen because the dog could get into it. So the trash is, dogs are scavengers. The trash is, to them, the best buffet in the world. Things that we would find vile, they're like, my God, do you know what this is? I think it's the best thing ever. And so, unfortunately, the idea of counter surfing for us is just, well, can't we just tell them to stop? And the answer is no. Now, if you are not a reinforcement, fear-free, force-free trainer, if you believe in aversion and pain, you can stop counter surfing by using shock collars, by using fear, loud noises, by scaring the heck out of your dog. And what you do is you teach them to be afraid of you, not the counter. So what they do is they counter surf when you're not there. And then they're afraid of you when you come home because they expect you to be angry and loud, and they're not really sure why. So, that's not a good relationship builder. And so we really just stick to the thing of, I'm so sorry. You have a dog whose genetic makeup, whose entire being has been programmed to scavenge, and you have a place in your house that may as well have a neon sign that says, we scavenge here. And they're like, my God, have you seen this place? Right. And you just have to make it so it is unavailable. I got a call. This was before I knew you, Michelle. I got a call from a rescue in town where the lady was ready to give up her dog because she left a roast chicken on the coffee table. And she was furious that the dog took it and didn't know better. And I thought, I don't know how better to explain this, but the dog was like, my gosh, thank you. Thank you so much. And she'd had the dog like 3 days, and the dog had come out of the shelter, and the dog's like, you've got to be kidding me. I hit the lottery.
Next time would really like a glass of wine to go with that.
She just could not believe that the dog did it. And she thought he was just innately evil. The dog was an evil dog for stealing it. And we had a long talk, and she just couldn't crock it. So there are some things you can do while you're there, like having place. That's what this diagram is. So let's talk about the concept of place. I'm going to do another test. How many of you know and your dog understands place? Give me a thumbs up if we've got that. I might challenge your understanding of place, but I want to see how many of you got it. Look at you guys. Oh, you're so good. Look at that. Now, how many of you say that your dog would go to place 95% of the time that you ask them to? Wait, did my sound go down?
No.
You heard me? Okay, just checking. Oh, nope, we got no's. Place is hard for dogs.
You asked the 64,000.
That ain't no place, but no. Yeah.
For those of you that are at 95%, congratulations.
Right. I saw some thumbs up there, Suzanne. That was
That is
excellent.
amazing.
That is amazing because place for a dog is difficult, especially since we expect place to be pretty far away and somewhat isolating. And so what I want to teach you is the secret to place is having them place nearby you so that they don't feel isolated. So if you're teaching your dog to place, let's go over the theory of it first of all. The theory of place is not the geographic location. So on this little map right here, it's not this location, it's the mat or the fabric or the blanket that you have put there. That's place. And that blanket moves. So place could easily be over here the next time. Place can move. So I hate that it's called place. I don't know what else we call it. I usually, place or mat or bed. Now there's a difference between this and their bed they sleep in. The point of this thing is that when you put it out, you're asking your dog to go and stay on it for a while, but you're not asking them to lie down and freeze. So you can't use the word stay because stay means freeze there with the expectation that I'm going to ask you to do something. So stay alert, stay wound up, and focus on me. And that's all the opposite of what you want them to do with place. With place is go over there, melt, slide into a soft body, and relax. That's what we want from place. We want the dog to relax and kind of let go. We want them to stop focusing intensely on the world around them and chill out. And that way they won't come to the dining table and pester our guests for food. That's what we really want from place. So we want place to move too, based on the fact that if you take that mat, I can pick it up and I can stick it in the car and I can take it over to a coffee shop and put it down at my feet, say place again, and the dog will melt there because the mat is there. So it's a movable thing. And when you teach your dog place, at first you do it real near yourself, and then you can start moving it further and further away so that, for instance, if the dining table is right where this says counter, you start with it near you, and then you can scoot them back a bit so guests can walk here. But you want to do it over time so the dog trusts that you're not going to forget them when they don't have a separation issue. So place is like by you at first, and then it's further and further away. And we'll see this little place diagram on each of these room diagrams as we go. I saw a chat. Suzanne. Oh, you don't use the word place. Great. Crate in bed. Good. About it sometimes. Oh, so you'd say bed. So the difference between crate and bed. So crate is where she sleeps at night. Is that correct?
Crate was where she hung out most of the time in the daytime.
Gotcha.
Or
Okay.
the center of the house.
Nice.
She had a secondary crate that was in the bedroom where she slept. So that was her bed and her crate. So if there was a contractor coming to do, fix the plumbing in the kitchen, then she would go to her bed so she was out of the way and didn't get upset.
Yeah, that's great. And it's such good management. So she's not worried about the people and she can be safe in a way. And she's also feeling like in her den so she can, relax a little bit. That's smart. And I love that you have two. That's really good. That's one of my favorite setups is where you sleep and where you retreat. And we'll talk about that in the next couple slides is having a retreat as well. Good job. Well, that's excellent.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So give you a second to think about your kitchen. We have a cue in our kitchen of out because our dogs are right at our feet when we're cooking, which drives my partner nuts. And so our kitchen's very narrow. We live in a 1930s home. And so there is no room for that business. So what I did is I took a piece of painter's tape really wide because it's bright blue and dogs can see bright blue. And I put the tape across the entrance to the kitchen like that. And I used the cue out to back the dogs to that line. And every time I said out, I would back them up to that line. And then I'd say yes and treat them on the other side of the line. to the point where when we were cooking, they knew they should not cross that line so that we didn't have to trip over dogs. And that was a type of place. So that was a way for us to establish space in the kitchen. Using the blue line made it fair, because if I was saying out and there was not a line, then I could back them up and it would be mushy. And that's where dogs, because they use context, they wouldn't know where to back up to, and they would always be unsure. And it would be unfair because I would be yelling at them out, not really yelling, but out. And they wouldn't know what to do. So putting the line there, they knew exactly. And it's really funny. Some of the dogs would put their toes just over the line, just like, put my toes in the kitchen and not get yelled at. And we would ignore it. You put your toes on the line. I'm not going to upset. That's crazy. But they were just, I just need to have my toes over the line. So we would let them do that. But you can see it was a natural place. Again, context. It was a natural place to have the line. And if I'd done it inside here, or where there wasn't a natural line, then it could have been harder to fight it. So you try to pick these natural places for flow. And that has saved a lot of frustration in our kitchen. So those blue painter tape, absolutely beautiful. You want them out of your kitchen. Anyone else use some type of device or setup to keep the dogs in a good place in the kitchen? Or have you thought of something you'd like to do differently in your kitchen?
Or do you have issues in your kitchen?
Yeah, or issues in your kitchen.
Our issue is we just constantly are tripping over them because
Yeah.
they have to lay right in the middle of the floor.
Yeah, see, Michelle,
There's no better spot than the kitchen, right?
having seen your kitchen, you have two natural places for this line.
I know. You know what, though? I like them to be right next to me. I like them there. So they don't bother
I
me.
know. But you could, where they are, and I know where they settle, they're pretty good about not being right at that fridge door. So you probably didn't have to worry about that too much.
Nobody else has kitchen issues, really?
It's good.
Or anybody have a good trick that they do with their dog with the kitchen?
It's not a trick. I use baby gates.
Cool.
That's a
When I
great
have-
trick.
If
That is a
there's
trick.
just,
Magic.
I mean, the kitchen and breakfast are together, and if we're all in there trying to cook together and they're all under my feet trying to assassinate me, then
Yep.
before I hit the floor, we have to get it, because you know how big Poppet is, and Dooley's right there with her, and then Pongo's just trying to eat everything right out of our hands. So
Mhm. Mhm.
we
Very smart.
we have to play zone, not man to man. So
Yeah. Yeah. And that's a great way to manage it. Okay. Front door. So gate at the front door or down the hallway, working on plates near the front door. Those can work. Patsy, I like your solution. We just don't cook. Solve.
Best one ever.
That does solve it. Yes.
Oh, no, that's hysterical. That's so fun.
All right. So a question for
Hang on
Tony.
a second before we hit the front door. I'm sorry,
Yeah.
Debbie, because we got counter surfer here. Tony, with a counter surfer, how do you deal with them at the table while you eat? Send to place or tape line?
Yeah, I work with them at place right next to me, like down at a place. I'll have a little cup of their kibble. I don't use the treats because I don't want to be too excited. So I'll use their dinner and keep them working place. And then occasionally toss treats behind me and then back to place, just keep them busy. That's going to take a little bit of training setup. So you probably want to talk to, like actually get a training plan for you. But place works if you are using rewards for it. So remember, it's hard for them to watch you eat a whole meal and not get any reward. That's why they're pestering you. And so if they're at the table and doing that, then you want to provide some reward for doing it. The tape line at the table would be hard because you would have to continually get up to move them across the tape. And that might be a little harder for you. No, I would want to see the layout of your room. to make that work perfectly. But my preference would be to ask them to relax during the meal. And my job would be to eventually get to the point where they realize if I just plain relax, then it works out better for me. Diane, what do you think?
Yeah, no, I agree. I think that eating at a table and having your dogs right there, especially with nothing to do, is kind of like going to a restaurant and asking your friends to sit there and watch you eat. That, yeah, if you can at least, again, teaching your dogs what it really means for place or relax. I've started using that cue with my dogs on the mat is relax, to kind of reinforce the idea that I'm not just hanging out here and taking a breath, but giving them then something there again to do while they're there. That I find for a lot of dogs is really helpful, and something calming, obviously. A little bit of their kibble, licky mat, chew bone, or something. Yep. So again, it's kind of reinforcing that idea of we're all here together, we're relaxing together, and you get something to do as well. Giving them the yes versus the constant no we tend to do. Whereas, I don't want you to do that. I don't want you to do that. I don't want you to do that. But here, this is what you can do. So, yeah.
That's a fine point. I'd rather have many, many yeses versus lots of no's any day. Most people, when they ask us to have their dogs in place near the table they eat, they want us to have the dog placed pretty far away. You want to start close and then gradually move the dog further away, because the most rewarding thing for your dog is to be near you. But then there's the added bonus of being near you in case you drop food. So they want to be really nice next to you. So you start close.
Which brings up the point, and I just thought of this when you brought it up, Debbie, is that you don't necessarily want to treat your dog from the table. That again, if you're working with them on a settle, is that they have something down with them, so that the expectation isn't that stuff is going to be coming from the table, creating that excitement on the table. Even though we know food is up there, the less that they're interested in the table, the easier it is for them to relax.
Yeah, I think I probably should have put more space in between that. So I would start, just to clarify what Diane, there's two, for my technique, I used to start with no food at the table, but there's to teach them place. And then that food from the table goes away. You're right, Diane. And then it's just what's on their place. So I agree with you. It wouldn't be while I'm eating, feeding them too. So thanks for that clarification. You're right. That would not work. They'd be like, this is great.
Unless it's like, whatever you're giving them on the floor is really exciting.
Yeah, I'm not going to do that. Okay. So front door. A lot of people want the dog to go to a place when the front doorbell rings. That's too late. So as soon as the front doorbell rings, if you don't already have place nearby and worked out, the dog is going to be already at the door, really excited. And so you have to actually work on place when things are calm, get the dog used to that location and that spot. Then you have to slowly increase their understanding of going when there's a distraction, and then get to the point where, oh yeah, the doorbell tells me to go to that spot. So this is a little bit harder thing to train. I want that doorbell to mean go sit down on place, not me. And so it's a little more intricate bit of training, but it's wonderful if it works. For my dogs, place at the doorbell was a little harder because of the way my house is set up. The front door just opens into this big room. And so it was very hard for me to kind of put place at an angle that the dogs just couldn't have the front room to run out. So I ended up using this end hallway and using a baby gate instead. So depending on how it works out, you can have, if you set up the room, you can have the dog in a place where they don't have a direct access to that front door. Don't put it right by the door where your dog feels like they could dash. And I love this. We're talking about door dashing. Door dashing was a dog term long before that company took it. We always resent that. Door dashing isn't a disobedience thing for dogs. They're just excited.
Mm.
And so we want to work on the idea too, that if the front door is open, they don't get to go through it without a cue. So the front door is a very complicated lure. There's lots to it. There's the door itself, what's up beyond it. There's the excitement of the ringing the bell or the knock. There's the excitement of the person coming up, the delivery, the dog, the sounds outside of it. So there's a lot of training that can be done around it. That's why we talk management first with the front door. Always management first and then training. So that's the first thing I would say. So Diana, as the trainer, I'm going to switch this to you. So once we've got management in place, let's say we've got the gate, we know the door is safe and the dog is not going to be able to get away.
Sure.
How do you want to deal with place and or guests coming in the door?
So usually I even start before all that and try to help the dogs just learn calm around the door.
Yes.
And so I like, how many of you are ever done kind of like door boundary training with your dogs? Yeah. So what, Michelle, fantastic.
Yay, Michelle. Yay, Lisa. Look at this. We got good people. You guys are so good.
So, one of the things I've been doing a lot and learning a lot is teaching our dogs to make different choices without us cueing them into a choice. Because I myself get bad about constantly cueing my dogs into behaviors in order to, manage our world. And so the door is a great place to work on most dogs, unless you have a fearful dog, are really excited to go out the door when they're going out on a walk. They're right at the door. Things are really exciting. So practicing with them on leash, having them actually make the choice as you're waiting at the door before you even try to open it to take a step back. Mm-hmm. So sometimes this takes time, but it works on many different levels. It works on impulse control. It works on calm. It works on, I am going to choose to wait versus me cueing them with a sit and a hold cue, whether it's a stay or a wait. They're still amped here going, okay, it's just going to be a minute. She's going to open the door and I get to go. Yay. Mm-hmm. And I've got husky mixes, so that's where their brains live. So, but practicing that kind of behavior of how am I going to act around a door, opening the door first, before even trying to do place or relax, because that's a tough one. That takes more work, more patience for it. But just taking that energy level down first, door boundary. What do I do when I'm near the door? I calm down. I offer a sit. I offer a step back. I hang out as the door is opening, not because I'm going, oh my God, I'm holding. They're going, okay, I know eventually I'm going to come out. And then the other part is where the cue comes in, or the more important cue is the release cue. When do I get to move? Mm-hmm. So you make it really clear for your dog, if they're in a place or a relax or whatever, when is it appropriate for me to move? Because that's a lot of times hard for dogs too, not knowing when that's going to happen. So practicing that. We're at the door. We're nice and calm. I open the door. All is good. Now we're going to go out the door.
Yep. And it's here, teaching the spot. Thank you, Michelle.
Yeah.
We appreciate it.
Sorry, I got to run, guys, but thank you.
Thank you. Teaching that when the door opens, that everybody takes a breath is a really fun thing to teach too, and see your dogs very calmly approach the door. Teaching place near the door is the same idea. Relax. As soon as the door opens, you go to place. So what you do is as soon as your hand touches your handle of the door, you say place and reward your dog for going, and then you open the door. So the place cue is the hand on the handle. That sends them to place. you can pair those two. And I've gotten some customers where as soon as we do the handle is placed, then we move it to the next level. As soon as their doorbell rings, the dog goes to place. So it's an automatic boundary cue, but you have to have a calm dog to do that. So that's the precursor to it. I like that one. All right. Windows and
Anybody doing Alyssa, you have a
yeah,
question?
let's jump in.
Oh, I do. You may already have gone over this. It's kind of a rookie question. I was just wondering the step before being near the door.
Mhm.
How do you address over the top excitement at that anticipation of that step? Is calm the way to go? We're talking about getting a dog calm enough even to put a harness on and a leash on. That can take us 5 or 10 minutes. Is that normal? Is that okay? How do you, I mean, I try to be calm, but I wonder if I'm doing what I should be, or if maybe
Sure.
there's a better or more effective way.
Let me ask a clarifying question. Is that before, is that tied to a guest, or is that just trying to get out the door with your dog?
Is it tied to what?
Having a guest answer like having someone ring the doorbell?
No, not
Or is it
tied to a
separate?
guest, just tied
Okay,
to
cool.
going out.
Put it on cue, Alyssa. You're really a good trainer. Put it on cue. So teach your dogs that their cue, like get dressed, means we're putting the harness on. And that if they're too excited, you have the harness in your hand and they're too excited, you just set it down and walk away. Just a couple steps. And when they calm down a little bit, you pick the harness up again. If they get too excited, you just set it down. You don't have to say anything. They're not in trouble. Nothing. You just, hey, you're too excited. I'm just going to set this down. And then when they settle, pick it up again. Do that a few times. Okay. Don't let them to get to the point of true frustration, where they're really mad at you for not getting their harness on. But, you do that with kids. You're like, I'm just going to wait. It's okay. We're just going to wait a second. All right. You're a little less excited. We'll get your harness on now. So change your criteria to, okay, maybe you're not as excited as you were before. I'll go ahead and put it on. And then you change the next time a little less excited until you've got a good sit. You put them on. So you start requiring less excitement in order for the harness to go on them.
Is it okay to do so? What we typically do now, it usually takes about 3 steps. The first step is getting the harness over the head, but he needs a second to bark and jump. But then once he's calm, he comes to me, we put on 1 clip. Normally he needs another little break. And then a few seconds later, he's ready for the final clip.
Yeah.
And then we have 1 more wait, and then we get the leash on.
It sounds
So
like,
am I crazy? Or
no, it sounds like
brilliant.
he's really excited. Now, here's the other thing. What if you had a really good game of tug or something in the backyard, so his energy was down a little before you tried to go out, get the harness on him?
I could try that.
Yeah, it's just a guess. I mean, those are the things we try.
Yeah.
But I think letting him get his energy out is going to help you once you go out the door anyway. Because if you just wrestled it on him and you went out the door, you'd be dragged. You'd be like, "Ah,"
It used to be a lot longer. So now
Good.
it still takes some time. It takes, it doesn't take 15 or 20 minutes anymore, but it's kind of part of our whole process of it. I mean, it's kind of built into our time that we're going to be going out, I find. And I was wondering if that's something that's going in the right direction, or I should consider something different.
It's going in the right direction. I think if you added cues,
Yeah.
it would help him come back and anchor it. So pick a cue for the whole process of getting dressed, not going out. It's like the harness has a cue, right? And then each step has a cue, and get him, just tighten it up a little bit. Okay, so let's say it's harness, okay, get it over his neck. And then while he's wandering around, you want to have another cue for that next step, right? So when you're ready and his energy's gone down a little bit, you use that cue, get it on him, right? So you're guiding him a little bit through it instead of him just going willy-nilly. So, and that's the way you can start tightening that time.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Yeah, you bet. That's a good question. And I know that there are a lot of people who have dogs that go nuts when their harness comes out. Like, oh my God, we've won the lottery.
That's it.
So true. All right, so windows and fence. I know you're going to see the same pattern here. So making the wrong thing harder, right? You've got the dog that's the self-appointed security guard. So they're going up and down the fence line, or they're patrolling the windows and they're making a ruckus when they see something. So what is it that's making it hard? Well, if you use window film as high as the dog can jump or see, that's going to close that visual. And so as Diane showed you the blinds in the one house, maybe if they have a lookout perch, remove that. So if they're sitting on the back of the couch and looking out, maybe you want to rearrange your room and make it so they can't use the lookout perch. Our perspective is if they are rehearsing reactivity, they're getting better at it. And so we want to take the rehearsal away to diminish the reactivity. What you can do to make things easier, okay, help them to have a calm, settled spot away from where they're patrolling. So something that is in the sun, if they like to sunbathe, get them something to chew and settle, maybe using white noise to reduce barking that they can hear outside, those sound triggers, okay? And they're only allowed to do patrol outside with a sniffy line. So if you're going to go and they're going to be patrolling the fence line, you can reduce that by having them a long line and you're going for a sniff walk instead. So you're replacing the need with a natural need that's calmer. So those are a couple ways to do it. So if you see this little diagram, instead of having the dog's place being right in front of the window where he can patrol, you put some type of visual obstruction that still allows light in, so you don't live in a cave, and then you put his place elsewhere that helps him calm down. So you can't argue with a guard dog. You can't get this guard dog to stop guarding. But what you can do is tell him there's no reason to guard.
So quick question from Patsy. Thank you, Patsy. Luigi, God love that name.
Great name.
Who's afraid of his shadow, can hear when kids run their dirt bikes behind our house. He hears them coming long before I do. I guess my question would be, first of all, is this inside the house, Patsy, or outside in the backyard?
I would assume he's hearing them from inside because
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I would say white noise, music, something to drown it out, because he's listening for them. If you're hearing them long, if he's really hearing them long before you do, I would definitely provide some type of sound barrier that stops it. Now, my preference is actually brown noise over white noise. It's a personal preference. Some dogs, they don't care whether it's white, pink, or brown. I find that brown noise tends to block out some of those deeper sounds like motor sounds but maybe the bike sounds are a little bit higher. So play with it and see which noise blocks it. Many people who do those noises, they don't turn them up loud enough. So they'll turn it up so it's just, you hear it in the background. You have to have it block out 90% of the noise in the environment for it to actually work. It has to be loud. What did you say? I didn't quite hear that.
sorry, yeah.
When you asked if he was in the house, I hit the wrong button and logged out, so I had to log back.
Oh no.
Hi, welcome back.
It's when they're in the house, and all of a sudden he's barking. He has to go out. You let him out, and then he's doing the fence line in the back.
Right.
And he hears the neighbors' dogs. They bark constantly when they're outside. Then he has to go out and respond. It's like, God.
Yeah. You got to cut him off in that if he is barking crazy at the door, make the assumption that it is because he wants to go bark at two things, either the dogs or the bikes, and he doesn't get to go do that.
Yeah.
And I have to deal with my husband.
Yeah. So basically, if he is barking at that door, it is remove him from the door. It may be because you have to put the white noise inside the house so he can't hear those things. So he won't bark at the door. But if every time you let him out to go bark, you are reinforcing and rewarding. You're saying, yes, good job, go bark as soon as you open that door. So you are actually paying him for barking. He's getting a paycheck every time. Yeah.
His sister, Sophia, who we haven't had too long, she decided that she needs to patrol the squirrels and the birds because I have a bird feeder, the bird buddy. She sees it through the dining room and she's constantly banging on the window. And we let her out so she won't break the window.
Yeah.
That one's
Just going, yay.
Either cover the window or move the bird
Feeder. Yeah.
feeder. Yep.
Yeah. It's hard.
Know where to put it, but yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Maggie, jump in.
What about a dog who's peeing in the house?
Gosh, we love that, don't we?
Yep. I love him, but he won't stop doing it.
Oh, you've got to get belly bands on him.
We got them and we've used them a couple times from when you recommended it, and it has decreased it. Like, I feel like he's like, I don't know, like he's not doing it as much even when they're not on.
Mm-hmm.
But like, how often do I, like, should it be on him whenever I'm not with him?
Yes. He
Okay.
needs to wear them just like you have a kid who is not yet potty ready. He's not done. So you've got to have it on him, and then you basically are taking him out deliberately, just like you're training a puppy.
Wow. Okay.
Okay. So in essence, Johnny has failed potty training, and you are retraining him.
Okay.
Okay.
Got
So you're
it.
starting him all over, because what happened for him is, and this is, I know Johnny, so background for everybody is Johnny has next door neighbor dogs that have stressed him out, and they were marking near the front of Maggie's house. So Johnny is marking on the inside of the house in kind of parallel spaces. And so, so his potty training has broken.
Okay.
We have to basically teach him potty training again. Thanks, Tony. Thanks for being there. Hope dinner's great. So you have to teach him, nope, we're going to go back to potty training, which is every time you play, every time you eat, you go back outside to pee. Now, he's an adult, so you don't have to worry about the fact that his bladder can't hold. He's capable of holding a normal amount of time, right? And so what we're catching him on is those emotional times that he is needing to pee or mark. His marking is most likely right after or around the fence altercations.
Okay.
Most
Okay.
likely. And so he also is a candidate for anxiety meds if we can't get it to break.
Okay, but keep them on him all the time. It's not happening as much, but sometimes he'll pee in the house at night. Like, we'll come downstairs and he has.
Yep. He needs to
Like,
wear them at night.
wear him at night. Okay, so if we're not like literally hanging out with him, have it on him.
Yep. We'll break
Okay,
it.
and then taking him out, watching him pee like you do with a puppy.
Exactly. Exactly.
Okay.
He'll make and we'll get him reset from that. It's all tied to the fence stuff and the stress.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And as all that comes down, it'll come with it.
Cool. That
Yeah.
feels good. Thank you,
Yeah.
Debbie.
Oh yeah, I feel for you. Ugh,
Oh, yes.
poor little guy.
Oh.
He's so stressed. He's like, I'm gonna tell these guys, I'm gonna pee.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, yeah, they
Gotta
can't-
let him know somehow.
Yeah, they don't know you peed inside the house, dude.
It's like building a fortress, right?
Right.
It's
Yeah.
like they're storming the castle, man. I'm gonna build the fortress.
Inside. No, it's not gonna help. Okay.
Oh, thank you.
This will help and this is going to go fast. If your dog doesn't have a safe space in the house where they can go and be left alone, make one for them. And what I mean by that is, if they don't have an exit, you have guests over and they can't go somewhere and just go lie down and no one talks to them, no one pets them, and they can zonk out. They need a place like that in the house. And we talk about this when we're talking about fosters and brand new dogs to the house, actually crafting this for them. But if you don't have one for your current residents in the house, craft one for them. Something, if it's the crate that they love, make it available, leave the gate open on the crate. Give them nice things to go and have in the crate. It should be cozy, and it should be a place where they get to go. And when they're there, everyone in the house knows the dog is left alone when they're there. It's not used for correction. It's not used for any type of punishment, and it's not used for separation. So it's a choice space for them. They get to go choose that space to lie down and be quiet. Now, sometimes dogs don't know how to do that. And the way to help that is maybe you go and hang out in that space too and read a book or do something quiet until they choose to be with you. And it builds energy in that space. And they go, "Ooh, I like being here. And I would love to just chill out." So it teaches them downtime. And if there's anything modern humans need right now, is practicing downtime. We're terrible at it. We take our phones with us everywhere. But take it, practice some alone time with your dog and help them learn to do downtime. Now, this is not teaching them place. It could be with their bed in your bedroom, wherever you want to do it. But it is an opportunity for them to say, "Whew, this room is overwhelming with your guests. I'm going to go and lie down over here." Thanks, Jeanette. We'll see you next time. But if you don't have that in your home already, if your dog doesn't already choose a consistent place, think about crafting one for them and then encouraging them to use it. Over time, you will see a much more relaxed dog, and you'll see a dog that is, if they're already anxious, you'll see their anxiety drop. Do any of you recognize that your dog already has created this for themselves? Mm-hmm. Good. Good. If that's the case, set the rule with everybody that ever comes in your house that if your dog is in that space, to leave them alone. Don't pet them, don't talk to them, don't lure them away with treats. But it's a golden bubble. Your dog is left alone. Okay. Kids, yeah. Patricia, hi. Jump in.
My dog has chosen my half bath as her space.
I love it. Oh, that's a great place.
It is, except my half bath is very convenient, but I don't talk to her when I go in. And she just lies there. And
Oh, no, that's funny.
So it's not quite the perfect spot, I suppose, but it seems to work for her. And that's her comfortable spot. And
great.
She also doesn't ask for attention when I'm in there. But she's kind of like, "Oh, you again."
I love it. But I love that you respect it and you're just like, "I'm just going to creep in here for a minute and I'll leave you alone."
Yes.
Is that okay?
Absolutely. That's great. You guys have figured it out. And she ignores you too. It's great.
Oh, yeah.
Love it. I bet she likes it. It's like nice and cool and dark too.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah. Oh,
well, and it's right near my desk area.
Yeah.
She likes to be near me. But she has her own space, and she'll go in there periodically if I'm doing other things too. But
I love it. That's a perfect choice. And it's actually that if we were working with a dog that had fear or like thunderstorm issues or whatever, we would make that the room to choose anyway. So she made a perfect choice.
Yeah, she spent quite a bit of time there in the last few days because we've had lots and lots of rain.
Yeah,
it's been insane, but
we want the rain, but we don't need all the
noise.
Rain and all the noise. It's tough. Yeah.
Thank you.
Great suggestion. Thank you. That's cute. I love it. In respect to the quiet space for your dogs, when your family comes to visit and they bring kids, or if you have grandkids or you have little kids in your life, make sure they know the rules, that your dog's retreat is sacred and that they cannot go pet the dog, call the dog off, use toys to get the dog to come away, but that space, that zone is absolutely sacred and the dog is left alone. Your dog needs to be able to move away and choose to move away when they're overwhelmed. Now, here's the silly thing about dogs. They won't always move away when they're overwhelmed. And I'll have owners ask that when a dog has bitten. They'll say, "Why didn't the dog just move away?" And they don't. What they'll do is they'll ask you to move away because they're being polite. So give the dog a chance to exit, but also be the referee that's watching. And if your dog is noticeably or even slightly nervous, ask them to go to their safe space. Some of the signs and you guys who have seen these before will recognize them. The lip lick, that's a good sign your dog's nervous. Yawning, turning away, licking the person on the face or licking the hands is a request to stop. Rolling over and showing the belly is a request to tap out and be left alone. A lot of times, oh, look, she's showing her belly. I'm going to pet her more. It's like, no, the dog is saying, please leave me alone. The whale eye is when the dog is really stressed. So you might not even see that. A dog that's stiff or freezing is really afraid. So you may not see that yet. When you do, that's huge. All of those are the dog is asking to be left alone. And so if you see any of those, and especially the last couple with the whale eye or stiffness, you need to intervene. Any of the little subtle stuff like turning away or walking away or lip lick, licking the person's face or hands, rolling and showing a belly, intervene, escort your dog to their safe place, and then tell people she's just going to take a break and ask them to leave them alone. That's also a really good place to have a baby gate or a door and then put a sign on it and say, do not disturb. And that keeps everybody safe. It's really, really important that your dog has that option, because if that's not the case and the people misunderstand, you end up getting your dog in trouble or the other person in trouble. And that is the worst. We get called in for stuff like that. And it's so hard to come back from a snap, a growl, and a bite. Even if it is just a growl, then you've got family members who are like, your dog is terrible. And you know, it wasn't the dog. And you've got a big clash there. So do this and really avoid lots of other trouble. I have 8 grandchildren. It's so hard to say that. 8 grandchildren. And my dogs and my grandchildren do not mix. We have my dogs, when their grandchildren are over, the dogs stay in their safe space with the baby gate. And if the grandkids want to play with the dogs or meet the dogs, there is an adult, me or my partner, who is right there at the gate, and we supervise all contact. If the dogs move away from the gate, we are done. Kids do not get to participate. If we only have 1 or 2 kids with us and they want to participate and touch the dogs and pet them and stuff, then we have 1 dog at a time. We go out in the yard and we play, and it's all supervised. Then the dogs go to their safe space. They're always supervised. It's always controlled. And then they always go to their safe space. That's how much I feel that kind of safety has to be managed. For me, when people ask me, how old should a kid be when they get their first dog? My answer is always 8. Anything younger, the signals that kids give off to dogs are so difficult for the dog to interpret that it's really hard for the dog to manage. So unless you have an adult that's going to do all the work with the safe spaces and the sanctuary and interpreting and refereeing, then I usually err to the older side if I can. So have these spaces if you're going to have guests over, and also referee and move your dog into those spaces when things get a little bit harder on your dog. Questions or comments on that? I know it's radical.
Okay.
No, silence. Good. I like that one. I got through that.
Either that or we're all processing.
Right. So we've covered place really well. I don't need to go over that more. I mean, place just means go sit here. It's really great.
Go be calm.
These are the other things we use besides baby gates. And if you ask us, or we will provide a list. I think I have a checklist for you that'll go out with the link with Michelle. But we also recommend the X pens or exercise pens. They're the big black ones that you can put into a circle or any other shape. Tethering, which means you are connecting the dog to something with a line or a leash. And tethering to me is something you need to use very, very judiciously. You don't want to just leash the dog to something and forget them. There's a very specific way to use tethering. We've talked about the window film to block view. We've talked about place quite a bit. Diane has brought up making sure your dog has things to do, like things to sniff and chew and puzzles. But we've also kind of mentioned long lines and, having, there we go. So I'm whipping through these. having long leashes and other ways to have your dog explore. So there are lots of different types of equipment that can be used to help manage your dog that gives them outlets as well as restraint that keeps everybody safe and makes everything move smoothly. So you're going to get a checklist that with Michelle's going to have them for you with the slides when you ask if you, for the video copy and stuff. And that checklist will include some examples of these where you can see, things that you can use. The station and the tether will have a little explanation, but the gist of it is if you want your dog to be on place, thanks Maggie for being here. Yeah. If you want your dog on place but you need them to stay there and you don't quite trust them yet, you can put a cable, clip them to something like a hook or an eye on the baseboard or to a piece of furniture that keeps them there. The danger of that is they can't get away. And so if a child or another dog comes up to them, they could feel trapped. So that requires really good supervision. So that's why tethering isn't always my favorite thing to suggest. As long as you've got great supervision, it's a wonderful tool. Diane, do you want to add anything on these?
Oh gosh, it's a good mix of things. I think it's just there again. Try it. I think a lot of times it's really easy to just go, okay, I'm just going to let it be, but then getting frustrated and your dog gets frustrated. So no, sometimes one might work and one might not. And so if one doesn't work, you try a different one. We do that in training all the time. One cue isn't doing the trick, we'll work on a different set of cues. Just think about where your challenges are. And again, management is always faster than training, almost always faster than training. And making sure you're not just focused on the no, but on the yes. What is it that you want your dog to do versus we tend to focus on all the things that drive us nuts, and I have plenty on my list too. But again, what are the yeses? What can we give our dogs to help them so that again they're going, great, I want to do this, versus, oh man, quit saying,
oh man, yep. Yeah, always. Traffic flow, we've talked a little bit about, like mugging the door, making sure the dogs are not right up against that front door. The routine of that is really important. This is just when you get the slides and the checklist, this will help you a little bit. The only thing I want to say about traffic flow is we've talked about this in other webinars, is that tight spaces are tough on dogs. And so, especially like the kitchen. And so if you can open up or provide a flow through a tight space, you'll have a little bit better time with your dogs. And then this is it. There's a lot of it. Thank you, Alyssa.
Thank
we
you.
love having you on. All right, this is the last bit for all of it, everybody. So if you have any idea, commit to making 3 changes. If you have walked around or thought about your house, set up, clear off one surface your dog has access to that you're always like, no, stop that. You can't have that. Think about it and change that surface. Or think about providing some type of barrier to access where you're always like, why do you go in there? You can't go in there. Well, figure out some type of barrier and figure out one place where you would like to start to teach your dog to settle in that spot and help them learn to relax in that spot. And one of the easiest is right next to you while you're watching TV or working. Start to work on place. And the gist of all of this is when you are in your home with your dog, it's very easy to get into the routine and rhythm of just that's how it is. And take the time to consider what that's just how it is for your dog. Walk through the house thinking, is there a way I could make this a little bit smoother and reduce the friction for the dog as well as for me. So think about the things you're saying to your dog and the things you want from them. Think, how can I make that a little bit easier on them? So those upgrades can be pretty simple. Like I did this in preparation. We have a coffee table. I'm sorry, a side table between two chairs that there is a remote on. The dog just seems to want to have the remote. I don't know why. He just wants to pick it up. And so I finally, do we need this remote here all the time? She goes, we hardly ever use it. I said, "Okay, do you care if I put it in the drawer?" Nope. Like, why are we battling every night? You can't have that. No, you can't have that. No, you can't have that every night instead of just put it in the drawer. So now we know the drawer, the table's clear, and I don't have to say he can't have that every night. And it's so simple, but that's my example of the one clear surface. The one barrier, we actually changed a barrier and we moved. We had one that was a barrier for the kitchen, which we didn't seem to need anymore. And my mother is now coming into our house, and the dogs are so excited to see her. They come up a little too quickly. And so I have created a second little door in our back kitchen area so mom can come in, greet the dogs, and not have them jump on her. So I've put that in. So that was my second barrier. And I am teaching my new dog. He's learning place. He's never had to learn place. And so we're actually teaching him. So those are my 3 things that I've worked on. And I'm hoping that you'll think of some and can apply them to your household. Any questions, comments? I'm leaving the floor open.
Stories.
Yeah.
So I actually have a question.
Sure, jump in, please.
I love the blue painter's tape. Had not thought of that. That is excellent because, like somebody else said, my dog tries to kill me when I'm in the kitchen. I swear.
True. So fun.
So, but I don't know that I want to live with blue painter's tape stripes on the floor for the rest of
You don't
my
have
life.
Yep.
Okay, there we go.
You don't
That
have
was,
to.
yeah.
After a very short period of time, I mean, maybe a month, they will just take the cue from the context at that point.
Okay.
So, if you like I said, you take the natural, like the edge of that one counter
Right.
was a
Yes.
natural barrier. I use the tape for me to start making sure I'm being fair, right? And then after, gosh, it was a month, the tape could go away and the dogs were
Perfect.
fine. Yeah.
Okay.
Now, just like humans, creep happens.
Yes.
Creep can happen, right? So you have to, if you find yourself going, no, you're getting too close again, go, maybe I need to put a little tape down again.
Right.
Just for a short,
Okay.
maybe a week, maybe a couple days, and then do it again. So it's,
Perfect.
but no, you don't have to live with blue tape on your floor, your walls forever. It's just enough for the training period. I think the reason why we had it so long is because I had foster dogs coming and going, so they had to learn it. But I'll bet if I didn't have foster dogs, it'd probably only take about a week or 2 tops for it to be a natural thing. If I didn't do any like set lessons, if we just did it every time we went in the kitchen instead of having 10-minute sessions,
Yeah.
So I think it could be easy.
So okay, if the tape is down,
Thanks, Maria.
I'm trying to think how to ask this question. It's in my head, but I can't get it out. They're still allowed to naturally walk through the kitchen when I'm not there or whatever.
Correct.
So how?
So it's the cue out, the word
Okay.
out, and you're just kind of put your hands out and kind of sweep them along using your body, right, to sweep them out, and then you sweep in, and then you stop at the blue tape. So for them, the word out means I move out until the tape.
Okay. Got
Okay.
it.
And so
Yep.
then when you're in the kitchen, after a while, you just look at them, they're like, okay. And they leave until the tape, right? But you have to do that repeatedly until they get it that I move to the tape, right?
Perfect.
And so, and I'll tell you where the word out came from. And she's not here, so I can say it. My partner would be cooking. She'd say, the dogs need to get out of the kitchen.
Yeah.
I'm like, all right, we're going to use out because that's what you're shouting.
Yep.
So we just use out,
Yeah.
you know, so that I can say, all you have to do once they're trained is you say out and they will leave. And they would shuffle over to where they were supposed to, and they'd look at her. And they would eventually, after a very short time, they would just lie down over.
And so I'm assuming if you have two entryways, then you just have to monitor
Yeah.
both of them.
Oh yeah, for a while, my job was to stand in the kitchen and do musical chairs. Out,
Yep.
out,
Mhm.
out, while the cooking was happening, because she wasn't going to, because the damn dogs had to get out of the kitchen. My job was to sweep the dogs out for a couple of meals, and it didn't take very long. And then we left the tape down because we had fosters coming in so they could learn it.
Mhm.
But it didn't take long.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You bet. Let us know. You can text or email us if you're having any trouble with it, and we can give
Okay.
you better pointers. Yeah.
All right.
Great
Yeah.
question.
Anybody else? Questions,
Floor is open.
concerns, comments?
Let me know.
Debbie, this is
Ma'am.
Laura.
Hey, Laura.
I just wanted to tell you, we've got Pongo on the Selegiline, and he's about to be re-upped on it, and I think it's working.
Yay. Yay. Oh, that makes me so happy for you.
There's actually been a few nights where he hasn't barked at me at all.
Oh, that's great. Oh, that makes me so happy, Laura.
So,
Yeah.
I
That's
mean,
good.
it's Selegiline, gabapentin, but
Yep.
we've
So
got
that's
the
good.
GABA on a every 8-hour rotation, and I mean, we're hitting the 2 o'clock mark, and that's when we give it, so that it kind of it bleeds into the evening hour.
Yep.
We're just keeping a even strain.
Fantastic. How's his belly?
Scanny.
Is he?
I
does he
mean,
have
it's
any-
actually he's gained a little bit of weight. My mom said she thought he looked better, but he's always been skin and bones,
Uh-huh.
but he looks a little better, honestly. I think,
Fantastic.
and his indiscriminate peeing is a little bit less.
Fantastic.
Great.
So
That's
I think
great.
maybe that might have been a long time coming of us figuring out that he had the it's not. Why do I always want to say it's Addison's? It's the other one.
Cushing's.
Cushing's.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. That
So-
doesn't surprise me. Yeah, because Cushing's is a slow disease, and
it's a tough one.
you end up finding out that you've been fighting it for a long time. Yeah.
I think
Okay.
we have been. So
Yeah. Oh, that's
mean-
so good news.
Yeah.
Yay. Now, if
I'm-
you start seeing a shift, or you start seeing him with like barking or distress, check and see if you can give him some Pepsid, because those
Okay.
drugs can upset his belly. And
Okay.
so check that first before changing any of the other meds.
okay. He has not been doing any of that. I mean, he couldn't eat enough. I mean, he's still.
Yeah.
I mean, he's not just a counter surfer. He arms himself with like the knives that are on the counter.
Oh, right.
I mean,
yeah.
it's not just food. It's whatever is any
But-
molecule. We must keep a pristine home.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, Pongo and my dog Quinn. My dog has military grade nose radar when it comes to anything even remotely edible. So
Yeah.
No, terrible.
And my husband has the worst habit of going and getting snacks when he eats, and bringing them home in his backpack, which ends
no.
up getting chewed up.
yeah,
Oh, great.
It's its own fault, but I mean,
Yeah.
when you have a husband with ADHD and
they're
and a dog with laser focus,
he was just waiting. No.
he is. He says, "Oh, look, the target's home."
Oh yeah, I was gonna say, he's like, oh, Dad.
Yeah.
Snacks.
The snack dude.
Yes.
That's fantastic.
Oh, that's
So,
so.
I
so-
do think he's doing a little bit better.
I'm so
That's
happy to hear it. 'Cause
fantastic.
you know,
Thank you for
any
sharing.
clarity for him is that's great.
Oh,
I mean,
wonderful.
I'm glad. And, honestly, he now this is a 13-year-old dog who has been storm phobic for, I don't know, 6 years probably.
Mm.
Now he's discovered my closet, and that's where he wants to go for storms.
Well, that's a
Hey,
good place.
glad he figured it out.
It took him a while,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ah,
Yeah. That's
Well,
but
the
I mean, I'm like, okay, that's fine. There you go, buddy.
yay.
I put a bed in there for him and just to make him comfortable.
mhm.
So,
Yeah. I think every dog deserves a panic room in a house.
right?
Yeah, definitely.
I read things that say, you know, apartments or communities are dog friendly. My feeling is we need to talk to every contractor and go, okay, if it's really building a dog friendly house, let's have their own separate panic room,
Mhm.
Exactly. Exactly.
decompression spot.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, I'm really glad to hear it. And you know, that was such a good solution. That's a good combo actually for what he was doing. So I'm glad the vet was open to it.
Oh yeah. Yeah. No, she's great. So
Yep.
thank you so much. I really
You betcha.
but I wanted you to know that it was seeming to get better.
That makes me super happy. Great. Yay.
Anybody else questions or anything we can
Yep. Floor is
answer?
open for anything now.
Yeah.
Boy, are you ready to rumble? So there's on the screen information on how to reach us if you'd like to. If you have a quick question or if you need any help, info@cspotbehave is our email. You can call us directly if you like at 553-6762. That's here at 512. And if you are a foster for Gold Ribbon, do I have there? I do have it on here. Where did I put it? Boom, boom. Yeah. Oh, I don't have your phone number on there. So you reach out to your team specifically. So we are called on to help, but we're always second team. So if you have a behavior issue or medical issue, you reach out to your GRR team and then they'll reach out to us if you need anything. But we are here for you. We just absolutely love helping this organization. You guys are amazing. Thank you, Valerie. Glad you were on this call. So much for helping your pups. And I think that's it for tonight. It's a lovely night. We're so happy we're getting rain, but we also want to make sure all the folks up in Georgetown are okay. And
Yeah.
yeah, you know,
They're above water right now, according to most folks. But
have a good night, everybody.
Right.
We really
Thank
appreciate all
you.
of
thank
you.
you.
Good
Thank
night.
you guys so very much. Looking forward to seeing you in June.
In June. Yeah, I know, right? Woohoo! Already.
Good night, everybody.